Putin and Obama are continuing to threaten each other, and this is obviously over what's happening in the Ukraine right now. Obama says Putin must pull back on Crimea annexation, and he imposed, this is Obama, imposed sanctions on the top Russian government officials, and some from Ukraine as well. And he believes that this is going to be the start of some sanctions. He's trying to threaten Putin, trying to threaten Russia into pushing back. However, that doesn't seem to be working too much because the deputy prime minister in Russia, he's suggesting that this is a joke. And you can read at the bottom there, he says he thinks some prankster came up with the sanctions list. And he's basically suggesting that this really doesn't affect many of the Russians. Why would this really be anything to take seriously? So I'll go on to the next one. An exclusive: Russia will sanction U.S. senators. So Putin is actually reported to be creating his own list of sanctions, and this is in response to what Obama is doing. So they're playing a little game back and forth, a little cat and mouse here, and I see this as really a waste of time because of the reality of something that I've talked about many times, talked about in my book, talked about it in other videos. But this is one of the individuals out of Russia saying that they will switch to other currencies should the U.S. decide to place sanctions on. And this is a way that they can not only get around what the sanctions are imposing, but at the same time have significant damage to the U.S. economy. Let's take a look further in. Russia can dodge any proposed sanctions by switching to other currencies and creating its own payment system. And this is Sergei Glaziev. But they're saying that he doesn't represent the thoughts of Russia, and they're saying basically don't listen to him. However, he is a high-ranking official, and I do believe that we should take his comments seriously, whether or not they'll be actually imposed. The whole point is that because of the monopoly that the US dollar has right now, they have the ability to move the markets, to change what happens, and really have a deciding factor in what goes on. However, this is changing, and this right here is something that will affect the economy into the future and will ultimately bring the demise of the US dollar. That is an absolute fact. So this is a diagram from my book. I've shown it before. And it is very, very convenient that it is involving Russia and China here. And it's talking about how the US dollar, no matter which countries are trading, the US dollar needs to be used as that medium of exchange. However, country after country, as I discussed in the book, have gone and used their own currencies to do deals with each other. This really means that slowly but surely the US dollar is losing its reserve currency status. Just like the previous reserve currency, everything doesn't really happen overnight. This is happens stages over and over, and there's no official crown on the reserve currency status. It's something that happens slowly but surely, and it looks like the US dollar is losing that right now. And if this escalation really occurs and really gets bad, you're going to see the US dollar lose a big percentage of its value at this point. So remember that we've talked about this, and remember to get prepared in advance, because if you're holding US dollar denominated assets, you're going to be in trouble. I'd like you guys all to get on the Money GPS Insiders, and that is basically an extension of the Money GPS work that I do here on YouTube and that I've done on my in my book as well. And you can get on there by going to themoneygps.com, scroll down to the bottom, fill in your email address, and you will get occasional emails from me, and it's basically deep analysis that I've come up with over my years of research. Hope to see you there. Take care.